Welcome to Work Fluent.
Come on in, get comfortable. This one's for you. I sat on a complaint for 3 months once. 3 months, Ryan.
What was it?
A coworker kept taking credit for stuff in our shared reports. Small stuff, but it kept happening, and I didn't say anything because every time I thought about raising it, I heard this voice in my head going, "Don't be that person."
What changed after 3 months?
I finally said something, and it took 4 minutes, and nothing bad happened. 4 minutes, Ryan. I lost 3 months to a conversation that took 4 minutes.
I'm Ryan, by the way. We're jumping straight into stories before intros today, but that's kind of the whole point.
And I'm Sarah, clearly still thinking about that 3-month gap more than I'd like to admit.
That gap is the whole episode right there, honestly. The distance between "this is bothering me" and "I actually said it." That's where people live for way too long.
And AI doesn't help here at all, does it? It can draft you a complaint email. It can't tell you when to actually send it or soften it in real time when you see the other person's face change.
Right? The tools can write the words. They can't read the room while you're standing in it, deciding whether now's the moment or whether you should wait.
So today, we're doing one full complaint start to finish, deciding if it's actually worth raising, framing it so it lands as useful instead of whiny, picking the right person and moment, and following up afterward without turning into the office complainer.
And by the end of this episode, you'll walk away with 8 real lines you can use starting tomorrow, a full word tour of everything we cover so it actually sticks, and 1 piece of homework to practice today's topic.
Because the goal isn't to never complain. It's to complain well, the way people who are actually good at this do it.
Let's get into it.
Okay, first question, and I think this is where most people get stuck before they even open their mouth. How do you know if something is actually worth raising versus just venting to yourself and moving on?
I think there's a real test here. Ask yourself, is this a pattern or a one-time thing?
What's the difference in practice?
A one-time thing, most of the time, you let it go. A pattern, it happened once, then again, then a third time. That's data, not a mood.
That's such a good filter. My credit-stealing coworker thing was 3 separate reports. That's not me being sensitive. That's a pattern.
Exactly. And here's the second test. Does this actually affect your work or just your feelings about your work?
Those need different approaches, right?
Right. If it's affecting your actual output or reputation, that's worth raising formally. If it's just annoying, sometimes a lighter, in-the-moment comment handles it.
Give me the lighter version and the formal version then.
Lighter, in the moment. Hey, quick thing. Can we make sure both our names are on the report next time? Said right after it happens. Casual tone, no big meeting required.
And formal.
Do you have a few minutes this week? There's a pattern I want to talk through with you. That's the line that signals, this is a real conversation, not a hallway comment.
I love that pattern shows up in both. It's doing real work. It tells the other person this isn't random irritation. It's something you've actually tracked.
Right. Pattern is a specific word, not a vague feeling. It sounds observed, not emotional.
Okay, let's talk about framing, because I think this is where good complaints and bad complaints really split apart. What makes a complaint land as useful instead of just complaining?
The biggest shift is talking about impact, not just the behavior. "You keep interrupting me" is a behavior complaint. When I get interrupted midpoint, I lose the thread and the group misses half the idea. That's an impact complaint. Same issue. Completely different reception.
Because the second one gives the person something to actually fix. The first one just makes them defensive.
Exactly. Nobody can argue with, "Here's what happens because of this." They can absolutely argue with, "You always do this."
It's like the difference between a smoke detector and a lecture. A smoke detector just tells you where the problem is. It doesn't judge you for having a candle lit.
I like that. It's just information, not an attack.
So, what's the actual sentence structure here?
When specific thing happens, specific impact happens. Two clauses, cause and effect. No adjectives about the person's character. When the report goes out without both our names, it looks like I didn't contribute. Factual, impact-based, impossible to argue with because it's just describing what happened.
Let's talk timing now, because I think people get the words right and the moment completely wrong.
Oh, timing is huge. Never raise a real complaint in the heat of the moment, right after it happens, when you're still annoyed. Your tone leaks the annoyance even if your words are careful.
What's the actual gap you'd wait?
A day usually. Long enough that you're not reacting, short enough that it's still relevant, and you both remember the specifics clearly.
And picking the person, does it always have to be the person directly involved?
Not always. And this is actually where people mess up, in both directions.
Both directions?
Some people go straight to the manager for something small. That reads as escalating unnecessarily.
And the other direction?
Others sit on something serious because they don't want to go over someone's head, but it needed a manager from the start.
So how do you actually decide?
Here's the real rule. If it's fixable one-on-one, go one-on-one first.
And if that doesn't work?
If you've tried that and nothing changed, or it's a pattern involving power, like someone senior repeatedly taking credit from someone junior, that's when you loop in a manager.
What do you actually say to the manager, though?
Something honest. I mentioned this to them directly and wanted to flag it since it's kept happening.
That line is doing something smart, too. It shows you tried the direct route first. Managers respect that way more than someone skipping straight to them.
It signals you're not trying to create drama. You're trying to solve something, and you've already put in effort.
Let's talk about the moment itself, though. You've picked the person, you've picked the timing, you're actually in the conversation. What's the opening line? Because I think that first sentence sets the whole tone.
Can I share something that's been on my mind? I want to make sure I'm not misreading the situation. That opener does two things. It asks permission, which makes the other person less defensive walking in. And it leaves room for the possibility you're missing context.
Even if you're pretty sure you're not missing context.
Even then, it's not about being unsure. It's about giving them a graceful way to respond instead of immediately defending themselves.
What if they get defensive anyway? Because that happens even with a perfect opener.
Stay with the impact. Don't escalate into their character. I hear that wasn't your intention. The impact was still that I felt left out of the report. Keeps you anchored to the actual issue instead of getting pulled into a debate about whether they're a bad person.
Separate intention from impact. That's such a useful split for basically any hard conversation, not just complaints.
It really is. Most defensive spirals happen because the other person hears you're bad when you actually meant this thing had a bad effect.
There's one more layer worth naming here, actually. Tone of voice matters just as much as the words themselves. You can say the exact right sentence and still sound accusatory if your delivery is sharp or clipped.
How do you keep your tone in check when you're actually still a little annoyed underneath it all?
I practice the sentence out loud beforehand, honestly. Not memorized word for word, but enough that I'm not composing it live while I'm also managing my emotions live. Doing both at once is where tone slips.
That's such a practical fix. Most people only think about what they'll say, never about how it'll actually sound coming out.
And a flatter, calmer tone almost always lands better than an enthusiastic or dramatic one for this specific kind of conversation. You're not trying to sound upbeat, you're trying to sound steady. Can we talk about what happens when they push back anyway, though? Because separating intention from impact doesn't always land on the first try. Sometimes people get defensive no matter how carefully you frame it.
What do you do when that happens?
I actually had this happen. I raised something calmly, impact based, and the person basically said, "I think you're overreacting," which in the moment makes you want to either back down completely or escalate.
Neither of those is great.
Right, so the move is to hold the line gently. "I hear that you see it differently. For me, the impact was real, and I wanted you to know." You're not arguing about whether they meant it, you're just refusing to let the impact get erased.
That's such a calm way to hold ground without turning it into a fight.
It's not about winning the conversation, it's about making sure the actual thing you raised doesn't just get talked away.
Let's widen this out a bit too, because so far we've been talking about complaints about a specific person's behavior. What about when the complaint is about a process or a system or workload? Nobody to blame, just something that's genuinely broken.
Oh, this is common. "I keep getting assigned last-minute requests with no notice" isn't about one person being rude, it's a structural thing.
How does the framing change?
You shift from impact on me to impact on the work. When requests come in without notice, I can't prioritize properly and something else always slips. It's less personal, more about outcomes, which actually makes it easier to raise. Honestly, there's no one specific person to feel defensive.
And you can propose a fix in the same breath, which you can't always do with an interpersonal complaint.
Exactly. Could we build in a 24-hour notice window for non-urgent requests? Naming a solution alongside the problem makes you sound like someone solving something, not someone just flagging an issue and walking away.
That distinction matters a lot for how you're perceived long-term. The person who raises problems with a proposed fix attached gets remembered completely differently than the person who just points out what's wrong.
One more scenario I want to hit, because I think it's genuinely the hardest version of this. Complaining about someone at the exact same level as you. Not your manager, not someone junior. A true peer.
Why is that harder than the other versions?
Because there's no built-in authority to lean on either direction. With a manager, there's structure. With someone junior, there's often more grace extended to you as the senior person.
And with a peer?
With a peer, it can feel like you're just picking a fight with an equal. That feels riskier somehow.
Does the approach actually change, though, or is it the same framework?
Same framework. But I'd add one thing. Name the relationship explicitly.
Like how?
I want to say this because I think we work well together most of the time, and this one thing has been getting in the way.
That frames it as coming from someone who values the relationship.
Exactly. Not someone looking for a fight.
That's a nice move. You're not just raising the issue, you're framing why you even bothered raising it at all.
Right, because with a peer, the unspoken question is always, "Why are you telling me this?" instead of just tolerating it. Answering that up front removes a lot of the defensiveness before it even starts.
Good peers actually want to know when something's off, most of the time. The awkwardness is almost always worse in your head than it is in the actual conversation.
Every single time, honestly, I've never once had one of these conversations and thought afterward, that went worse than I expected.
Okay, last piece. The follow-up.
I feel like people get this wrong in two different ways.
They do. Either following up too aggressively, checking in constantly, or never following up at all and letting the issue fade without resolution.
So what's the middle line?
One follow-up at a reasonable distance, maybe 2 weeks later. Hey, just checking in. Has this been better on your end since we talked?
Light, not accusatory.
Exactly. It gives them an easy way to say yes.
And if it hasn't gotten better?
Then you go back to the pattern language. I've noticed it's still happening. Can we figure out a different approach together? Notice it's still collaborative. Together. Not, you need to fix this.
Even on round 2.
Even on round 2. The goal the whole way through is staying the person who raises real issues clearly, not the person who makes every interaction feel like a confrontation.
Let's turn this to you for a second.
Okay,
Is there something you've been sitting on right now? Something that's happened more than once that you haven't actually raised yet?
what's actually stopping you?
Be specific about the fear, not just the general discomfort.
Here's a harder one. When you picture raising it, are you imagining the impact-based version we talked about, or just venting the frustration out loud?
Those two go very differently.
Most people never get past imagining the second one.
Here's one to sit with. Think about the last time someone raised a complaint with you.
Behavior language or impact language?
Whichever one made you actually want to fix it, that's the one that worked. The other one probably made you defensive before they even finished the sentence.
And for the people pleasers listening, myself included, historically,
Go on.
when's the last time you let something slide 3 times because you didn't want to be that person?
What would it have actually cost you to raise it after the first time instead?
Here's another one. Is there something you're dealing with right now that's actually a process problem, not a person problem?
Meaning the honest fix isn't someone needs to change. It's the system around this needs to change.
Worth naming that distinction clearly for yourself.
Last one. Who's the right person for the thing you're sitting on right now?
Them directly, or does this actually need a manager?
Be honest with yourself about which one it really is, not which one feels more comfortable to avoid. Genuinely worth sitting with that whole list for a minute before we move on, rather than rushing past it.
Let's go back through everything today so it actually sticks. First one, Sarah's line. A pattern, not a mood. What does that mean?
It's the test for whether something's worth raising. A single annoying moment is a mood. Something happening repeatedly and consistently is a pattern. And patterns are worth addressing directly.
You could use that anywhere, not just work. That's a pattern with him, not a mood. We've had this exact fight 4 times.
Let's repeat it. A pattern, not a mood.
A pattern, not a mood. Next. A smoke detector, not a lecture. That one was yours too.
It's the idea that a good complaint just points to where the problem is happening factually, without judging the person's character. The way a smoke detector just tells you there's smoke, it doesn't lecture you about the candle.
I tried to keep my feedback a smoke detector, not a lecture, just pointing at what happened, not judging her for it.
Repeat it. A smoke detector, not a lecture.
A smoke detector, not a lecture. Next, cause and effect, not character. Sarah, take this one.
It's the sentence structure. When this happens, this is the impact. That keeps a complaint about the situation instead of turning into an attack on who someone is.
I kept my message cause and effect, not character, and he actually thanked me for bringing it up calmly.
Repeat it with me. Cause and effect, not character.
Cause and effect, not character. Next, separate intention from impact. That one came up when things got tense.
It means recognizing that someone's intention and the actual effect of their action can be 2 different things. You can believe they didn't mean it and still need the impact addressed.
I separated intention from impact in that conversation. I believed she didn't mean to exclude me, but I still needed her to know it happened.
Repeat it. Separate intention from impact.
Separate intention from impact. Next, an easy way to say yes. Sarah, this was the follow-up one.
It's about phrasing a check-in so the other person can respond positively without any pressure. A light question that doesn't demand a defense, just an update.
I gave him an easy way to say yes when I followed up. Has this been better? Instead of putting him on the spot.
Repeat it with me. An easy way to say yes.
An easy way to say yes. Next, hold the line gently. Sarah, this was the pushback one.
It means standing firm on the fact that your impact was real without escalating into an argument about the other person's intentions or character.
I held the line gently when he pushed back. I didn't argue. I just repeated that the impact was real for me.
Repeat it with me. Hold the line gently.
Hold the line gently. Next. Impact on the work, not impact on me. Sarah, take us through this one.
It's the reframe you use for process or system complaints. Instead of centering how something affects you personally, you center how it affects the actual output, which makes the complaint land as problem solving instead of personal frustration.
I made it impact on the work, not impact on me, when I brought up the scheduling issue. Way easier conversation.
Repeat it. Impact on the work, not impact on me.
Impact on the work, not impact on me. Last one. Staying the person who raises real issues clearly. Sarah, close us out.
It's the actual identity you're building every time you handle a complaint well. Not the office complainer, not the person who says nothing for 3 months, but someone known for raising real things, calmly, when they matter.
I want to be known as the person who raises real issues clearly, not the one everyone avoids in meetings.
Repeat it. Staying the person who raises real issues clearly.
Staying the person who raises real issues clearly. 8 phrases, 1 honest conversation, and you can use every one of them the next time something's actually worth saying.
Your homework today. Think of the one thing you've been sitting on and write the impact version of it. Not you always do this, but when this happens, here's the actual effect. Just write the sentence. You don't have to say it yet.
Having the sentence ready is most of the battle. Once it's written down calmly, saying it out loud gets a lot easier.
And if nothing's actually bothering you right now, genuinely lucky, but write the sentence anyway, using something small. The skill only feels natural once you've practiced it on something low stakes.
Same principle as everything we teach here, honestly. You don't want the first time you use a hard skill to be during the highest pressure version of it.
That's it for today's episode.
If this helped, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. New episodes every week.
This is Sarah.
And this is Ryan.
And you've been listening to Work Fluent.
See you next time.